have just,
The family fest?
it's my business card, but it gets 5 people in, so.
All right, we are at
Perfect.
The water efficient.
All right, I'll call this meeting to order for Wednesday, January 28th, 2026, our 7 PM Planning Commission meeting. Did I say 2026?
February 28th.
February 28th.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be in a couple days, which is fine.
Sure.
If it matters. Does it matter, Lisa?
Probably not. We'll call that a scrivener's error. Who's in charge of this? All right, so thank you for keeping me on the rails, sorry. Roll call, it's great to have everybody here.
Yeah.
Have we released Mr. Moss yet?
Yes.
Okay,
he's
so
released.
yeah, we've got a full attendance.
Yep.
And we'd like to welcome our newest member, Michael Adamson. So we'll give you some time to introduce yourself in just a second, but I'm going to start with a quick thought. So there's a proverb. It's attributed to be Chinese by some, but I don't know if this is true or not. But it's kind of a curse, and it's along the lines of "May you live in interesting times." If you've never heard that before, it's sort of a it just implies that interesting times are usually chaotic, tumultuous, stressful, et cetera, et cetera. And I would say that we're living in interesting times. So I just wanted to give a thought about that. I would have preferred to not live in interesting times, really, but we're here, and I would say that one of the benefits of living in interesting times is that we have an opportunity to keep our ears to the ground and look for being a means of change. And for me, that just means trying to be a steady presence. Sometimes that's all I feel like I can do. So that's my thought. And I'll share a legislative prayer, and then we'll do a pledge of allegiance. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to come together as thy children and to exercise our duties and obligations here as planning commissioners. We ask for thy guidance as we make these decisions today. We appreciate thy blessings in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I will confess, I was super concerned when I drove into the parking lot.
No, right?
I know, exactly.
And
What a
I'm
relief.
so relieved that the items on today's agenda are not nearly as controversial as the parking lot would have originally made it appear. But before we jump into the controversial text amendments, Mr. Michael Adamson, if you'll please introduce yourself.
So Michael Adamson, had some previous opportunities to interact with Mike and Sydney. I am a traffic engineer and planner by trade. Am a consultant. A lot of my work actually deals with interacting with cities and assisting them in planning out their roadway networks, active transportation networks, transit planning, the whole sort. And so was very interested after my interactions with city staff in the opportunity to potentially be a part of the Planning Commission and serve in this capacity to weigh in on the future of Centerville and try and help guide how we invest in our infrastructure, how we invest in our plans towards the future. I believe, Mike, did you have something else?
You said exactly what I was going to actually say. So I will add that we're very excited to have him, obviously, with his background. I think that's great to have that planning commission resource, and I think it'll be a huge benefit as we do discuss things relative to transportation and general planning elements. So we're excited to have him join us.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and move on to the business items. We'll start with, we did number 1. Number 2, the public hearing on the zoning code text amendments for Shorelands Commerce. Who would like to lead us out with a description? Ms. DeWeese, go ahead.
Okay, so obviously you guys know that my staff reports, I like to kind of give just a brief explanation of this. This one is a little bit more tricky just because there are some additional layers, so I'm going to go into a little bit more detail but not too much because I trust that you guys read the staff report. So on January 26, 2026, Tom Allred applied for the zoning text amendment to add vehicular rental or sales new limited to the Shorelands Commerce Park and remove vehicular and equipment rental sales from the Shorelands Commerce Park. The removal is staff's recommendation post definition review. As stated in the report, definition updates will need to occur in the future. The addition that Tom is presenting is due to a conditional use permit for Sal Moto, which he is the partial owner of. This condition states, which I think that this is pretty important, it specifically states, which you guys have reviewed and actually passed, no mechanical repair shall occur on the property until such time that a zoning text amendment to the Shorelines Commerce Park zone is applied for by the applicant or other property interests, and therefore potentially approved by the city to include mechanical repairs within the Shorelines zoning designation. So by allowing for the use of vehicular rental or sale new limited to be a conditional or permitted use in the Shorelines Commerce Park, this zoning text amendment would satisfy this request. This amendment to the Shorelines Commerce Park zone would be aligned with the current and proposed general plan as stated in the staff report on pages 2 through 6. I also just wanted to make sure that when we did take out the part of the vehicular and equipment rental sales, I just wanted to make sure that no businesses in the Shorelines Commerce Park were affected by this decision, and there is no businesses in the Shorelines Commerce Park operating underneath vehicle equipment rental sales. So that was double checked. In conclusion, the city staff is supportive of the proposed amendment to the Centerville zoning code as provided by the applicant. I will say the only edit is that the applicant proposed it to be permitted. Staff views it that it should be a conditional use permit. We recommend that it be a conditional use permit rather than outright permitted is due to this type of use being a conditional use permit in every single other zone within the city that it is permitted / conditional use permitted. This will also allow for the Planning Commission to review this area, the Shorelines Commerce Park, and really just have more eyes on an area that's like a specialty zone. So instead of me just doing a review when a new business comes in, it would be able to be brought to the Planning Commission. And just having more backgrounds and more eyes on it would be helpful. And that is my synopsis.
Excellent, thank you, Ms. DeWeese.
Yep.
I'll come back to the Planning Commission. What questions do you have for staff? Go for it.
Well, you know. So full disclosure, so I called Sydney earlier because I read through it 3 different times. I was honestly still a little bit confused. I don't have legal background. I remember this sticking out of my mind before because we were concerned about some things. And so she explained a lot of things to me. I don't need to re-explain what you have a look.
No, keep on going.
Okay,
Keep on.
so a few of the things that she explained to me was that there will still not be any external work outside. No riding, no showing outside. In the entire zone, the Shorelines area, that would not be permitted. And like she just said, and I'm saying this out loud, reiterating it because I had the question, I didn't know if anybody else had the question. Conditional use permits, this is what they're saying about that, to have continued conditional use permits so that we're always reviewing what's happening out there and having a little bit more oversight in our open field area, the west side, correct?
Yes, specifically for the uses called out in the Shorelines Commerce Park Zone. So it's not like a conditional use for every single use in the Shorelines Commerce Zone. It's just for the ones that are specifically called out, now including or proposed to include this.
I think it's a good idea, considering that it provides a little bit more oversight for the city as to what is happening out there, or what can happen. So you answered all of my questions, so.
Chairman,
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I just had a question on, I saw a list of conditional uses, or uses and conditional uses. Did those specifically apply to the shoreland, commerce, or shoreland subdivision commerce park? Or do they apply to other subdivisions or areas within the city?
It depends which table of use you were looking at. Let me see, if you want to look at the screen. Possibly, was it this page right here?
That's the one that I saw, yes.
So this one is specifically for the Shorelines Commerce Park.
And I guess when they put that together in the first place, that they had originally, go down a little bit further on that. You know, for some reason, they had vehicle and equipment rental and sales, and that was, I guess, when they did the last master plan or subdivision or
master area
yeah,
plan.
master area plan, that was a consideration.
I think that after staff has looked over the definitions really need some work, and
Yes.
based on our interpretation of it now, we all three of us staff up here agree that that needs to be taken out of that, just due to the invasiveness of that use definition. And when we look at what we want the Shorelines Commerce Park to be, the ability to sell vehicle rental sales new is much more desirable than vehicle and equipment rental sales, so much less invasive. It also, when you think about what type of use is involved with vehicle and equipment rental sales, there's going to be a lot of outdoor storage, there's going to need to be a lot of buffering, there's going to need to be fences and walls. And the Shorelines Commerce Park design standards specifically call out that we don't want fences. We want certain types of buffering to occur, which would be difficult to meet the invasiveness of that use. So it really, the Shorelines Commerce Park, just full disclosure, has an identity crisis at the moment, and we're really trying to fix it while also helping out a local business in the area.
What it comes down to, I was just gonna add to it, if I could be an addendum to what she said, is that area has a lot of warring features, even in application, that it's not only clearly confusing for staff at times and what it's trying to achieve and trying to be, but it can only be more confusing, we think, for applicants in the future. So I guess what you're hearing me say is this the first probably of a much larger, or maybe multiple steps of review of this area, especially where it's our future economic development opportunity as a city, where it's 150, 180 acres of real estate that really needs to be looked at more clearly to identify what it's trying to be, because it can't be both things. It can't be like this open scenic area, but then also want industrialized uses that are being identified here.
Well, it specifically is what you see when you're coming from the north. This is what you see and what you think of Centerville.
Yeah, and that's part of it. We want to change the nature of that even, right? And when you look at vehicle and equipment rental or sell, that's like your big Mack trucks, your huge bulldozers, your giant trailers. That's what it's saying it wants. And I don't know that that's what we want in that area or in the city of that area. So that's why this challenge, even from staff to talk about this, came into play when the applicant brought this forward.
Yeah, they raised a good question
Yeah.
to
Very
make
much
us
so.
think about it, because, I mean, our thoughts are, when we're making this change, we're making the change not specifically for Mr. Allen and Mr. Cook is we're making this change because we think it's the best thing for that zone. And then the question becomes, how do you implement it? If this is a good use for that zone, is it a conditional use or is it a mandated use that can be applied?
Yeah.
I think that's a question that needs to be asked.
Great points, great questions. I know that in the staff report, you talked about how we shouldn't hold the application up because, I mean, the intent behind that original CUP was to get them up and running, and we didn't really anticipate this hurdle. Playing devil's advocate, why not wait and get those definitions corrected? Because they're in need.
They are in need, and why we are asking for the applicant to kind of follow through with this is that we know that as staff, we don't want to do a quick fix instantly. We don't want to just rush it and then a year from now have to come in and make those edits again. We're going to be doing a review of different municipalities. We're going to be doing a review of the American Planning Association definitions and making sure that they really do align with what the definition should be. It is going to be a larger haul, and if we're looking at like a 3 to 4 month review of this.
Yeah, and I
we
wouldn't
don't-
want that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah, there's, to go with this, and Lisa and I and Cindy all had the very conversation you're asking about. We did, and we talked about that. Do we fix the definitions of what vehicle rental and sales categories are and try to better align them and clear them up so they're not as all blended, like they kind of blended to each other? But if we do that, then we hold the applicant up. So the decision was, the applicant made the application, we don't want to be creating any due process slow time, I guess, or delay. So let's get it, but we do know there's a bigger discussion for creating better definition as well as better, again, SCP diagnosis. And so there's two things going on that this is bringing to the table as we talk about it, which helps us to better see where some of the gaps and challenges are that we need to improve as staff.
Right.
And I do think that this actual amendment is beneficial for the city because we're taking out a more intensive use and replacing it with new sales of motorcycles, automobiles, and light trucks. So I think it's a good catch that, this actually is beneficial for the city and something that staff is in favor of. But, with staff time and priority, it will take a few months to fix these definitions, but this actually fixes a problem with our ordinances right now that we would recommend, and we've been dealing with these definitions for, 10 years, so.
Right.
It'll be on the list of things to do.
But this is where I was headed. I was playing the devil's advocate so I could then play the other side, to tee that up. I want to ask you, what are the unintended consequences here? And in the interim, due to this change, are there any applicants that could come in and slide in under the gate before we close it, so to speak? The reason I ask it, because Commissioner Mendenhall said it very succinctly, we're not making a decision on whether or not this applicant can engage in the conduct that they want to, and that we've talked about previously in their other applications. We're making a decision about whether or not this zone is appropriately rezoned for this. So do you guys, from your perspective, do you see a problem, potentially, hypothetically?
I think there's more of a problem to wait.
Yeah, I do
So
too.
what we're doing right now is stop
I
gapping
think this
this
is better.
intensive use that we don't want there, once we read the definition, and we just said, let's streamline this to make sure someone doesn't get in with that, and then we'll go back and fix these other definitions, but I think it will be, I do think that the definitions are mutually exclusive. You have to read them, they're complicated, but they talk about, new car sales, they talk about equipment use, they talk about repair and limited, but I think that we can simplify them, but also what is a vehicle, because some of them include boats and trailers, and, are we really talking vehicles, or, so anyway, once we looked at it, it would be a complicated fix that will take a few months, so I think, this is beneficial, this is stopgapping right now.
And I think for that area, it is an economic development opportunity that's huge, and so we want to make sure we have the right potential uses that bring in the most value for the real estate that they would be taking up. And this use is way more valuable than, I think, a vehicle and equipment rental, just because the intensity and the look and the feel and how it damages the future aesthetic would not be worth it. So I'm in the same boat. I feel like the urgency is there to remove that from a conditional use and put this one in its place.
Got it. Right. Thank you. Just wanted to develop that conversation in the record.
No, it's a good discussion.
Appreciate it. More questions?
I have one for Mike. Sorry, did you have a question?
You can go
I didn't even
first.
see you. Mine's super fast, sorry. I need to look this way before I open my mouth. You said, you referred to SEP?
That's Shorelands Commerce Park,
Oh, okay.
SCP, yeah.
SCP, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, is that an abbreviation for something that
Sorry.
I should know?
I shouldn't do that.
Okay. All right, just
Yeah.
wanted to clarify that. Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, obviously, from what I've read, like, these repairs have to be an accessory use, right? Like, it cannot be the primary. So is there anything for him and future people to know, okay, like, I have to stop right here. I can't do any more than this. Is there anything that guides them in that way?
I don't know, do you want
I
me
think
to?
it's just a code interpretation.
Yeah.
So again, as we've been discussing, we can't write everything into our code, but right now it says that the main use obviously is the sale of
Right.
vehicles.
Right.
Motorcycles, automobiles, and light trucks, and incidental service and maintenance. So they have to fit in with that code interpretation. And so, yes, if they go too far, then they will be putting their CUP at risk.
And this applicant in particular, we had that conversation with them, and it feels it is incidental maintenance. It's
Yeah,
typical
and
oil
I'm-
changes and those sorts of things. But I guess to your comment, you know, the zoning administrator makes an interpretation, and obviously the city attorney can then make an interpretation and see if, you know.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to note as well is when we're looking at definitions and whether to enforce, we look at the other definitions and say, okay, is
Yeah.
this really, are they selling vehicles or are they now a vehicle repair?
Yeah.
And so we have a definition of vehicle repair limited and vehicle repair general, and those definitions, obviously limited is enclosed building but not body paint shops and other things, but like changing brakes and doing things like that.
Mufflers,
So
engine repairs.
if the repair gets, more than incidental to selling the motorcycles, then they've moved into this definition and also would be in violation. So again, as I say, mutually exclusive definitions, meaning this is different than the other definition. They work better when they don't overlap. So we say, we know what this is and we know what this is.
So, I'm a dumb person. So I have this business and I'm doing repairs, and for me as a business owner, it would be really nice to be like, okay, 49% of my sales has to be, or 51% of my sales has to be like, or profits, I should say, has to be sales of the thing. There's nothing like that. That's just like, this is the exact thing, so that I can look at it and go, okay, as a dumb person.
Cities
you know,
don't regulate through my experience, that granular. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But cities don't get to that level, at least that I've worked in.
Yeah.
I've never seen that level of intensity.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we're interpreting code, if we don't have a definition or a term that's defined, then we just look to the dictionary definition. And so the key term here would be incidental, which is something minor, secondary, or subordinate to the main activity. And what I'm saying is, yeah, at some point, we will have to make that determination. If, you can see things outside, there's more deliveries, they're not making any sales, it's a different business, then, they'd likely have to either start selling more motorcycles or move to a different location.
And I was gonna add to that, with it being a business and having certain expectations of definition, if complaints started coming in or information started coming in, I would probably, right, start investigating and finding out how they're operating and determine what's really going on at that point.
Okay.
Additional questions for staff? The one that I wanted to ask is, does this change in any way necessitate a change in their CUP?
We've talked about that too. I think we're of the opinion, based on how the CUP was approved and a term of it, that ironically, this was a term, and it basically evidences that if there's a code amendment that is made, then that code amendment, were it to be approved by the council, then applies to this CUP. There's a term actually in the CUP
Right.
conditions that says that.
So they would not have to come back and request a new conditional use permit.
Yeah.
They may not, and if we can do that at staff level, but it also depends what the city council, the city
right.
council makes the ultimate determination, and, but if they go with staff's recommendation and where we are now, we think that that CUP could be converted, but it will need to be converted to a different use, because they're not actually the vehicle equipment use. So we want to slot them into this
to
use,
correct
which would
use.
allow them to do the service and maintenance.
Yeah, to the corrected use.
Which is the one that was back in January of 2025.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we do appreciate this correction. I think it will be better for the city as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the applicant now to come to the podium and state your name, and why is the podium backwards?
Yeah,
Just-
good question.
No, I want you to
Pretty
face
heavy.
out.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Those people.
sorry, go ahead.
You're Tom Allred, and what else?
Just, so you've heard the conversation. I wanted to know if you had anything to add, any questions you'd like to pose.
Not really, we had a good meeting and covered stuff pretty thoroughly, so we're forthright in our intentions, so I'm trying to, something we say it's not intentionally, so. But if we're out of line, let us know, we'll fix something. Yeah, we appreciate you considering everything, and looking over it and getting through all of it, so. Yeah, we do have dealer required maintenance, I mean, that's just normal stuff, but there's any repairs, I mean, we're supposed to have a mechanic able to fix anything and do anything, so there is, but everything's internal, so I think that curbs most of the discussions, more opinion of something that's not supposed to be.
Right.
So, we'll do some repairs, but minor stuff, we don't want to be at mechanic shops, so.
Okay.
Only doing repairs on the stuff you sell, or if somebody's like, not that it matters, I'm just curious.
Probably, I mean, unless there's a restriction, we probably wouldn't say no to the business. I mean, it's, yeah, they're so similar, but we haven't got quite that far yet. So, we don't want to really repair stuff because we want time, and it's just, I can see it going that direction though, and that's a good point, because if somebody asks, I'm not sure we can do it unless there's a restriction. I mean, is there anything that you guys know that would, that if we define certain brands or certain types of vehicles, but we wouldn't be so specific like this, do you have that each type of?
Again, we're not that granular, like I said earlier. Yeah.
Just so I would, and obviously, we can't tell you, right, how things will be interpreted, but at least from my perspective, as long as it's minor and incidental, and you can characterize it that way. Right.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So, very good. Any other questions for the applicant? Right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
All right, because this is a, any further questions for staff before I go to the the public hearing portion of our program? I'm going to open this up for the public hearing. This is where we receive any comments. I assume none were received digitally, electronically. And everybody count 7 seconds in your head. This is a test to see whether or not you can gauge 7 seconds in your head. I have no idea if I hit it or not. There's actually, DRE officers are trained to, as one of their tests, to have somebody estimate a period of time for seconds, which can be used to determine whether or not somebody is intoxicated or high, because it accelerates your internal clock. That's complete, aside. Anyways, 7 seconds is over. I'm going to close the public hearing. Any further questions, or should I bring it back for motion and debate?
Motion and debate. Yeah, motion.
All right. Okay, so who would like to lead out with their comments? Go ahead.
I hereby make a motion.
All right, we're moving.
Are we okay or no?
Please do.
Okay. I hereby make a motion to recommend city council approval of zoning code text amendments to Centerville zoning code 12.47.090 regarding SCP zone permitted and conditional uses for the addition of the new conditional use category, vehicle rental or sell, new limited to Centerville zoning code 12.47.090B, and removing the vehicle and equipment rental or sell use category from Centerville zoning code 12.47.090B based on the following reasons for action finding 1 through 3. And then planning commission may include any additional findings that are deemed applicable.
I don't think we have any other ones.
Okay.
So, all right, I have a motion.
Can I have a question on,
Yes, Commissioner
so
Mendenhall.
this would, that the new definition would be included as a permitted use and not as a conditional use?
It's conditional.
Well, there's a couple, there's about 3 of them here, and I'm trying to see which one we're going after.
It's the statement that says for the addition of the new conditional use category
Okay,
would make it a conditional use.
okay, I found it.
No,
Thank you.
it's a great point, and
Yeah.
I had the same question in my mind, and I'm like
There's a lot of
scanning,
words from there
which
in
one are we
conditional,
reading?
But that's what it says, yeah, that statement.
To that point, looking at the, what Sydney had shared earlier for the exact edits in the section itself, I was noticing that it was written within the permitted uses section, but it will be under the conditional use based on the way we're planning to approve it.
Correct, with that motion.
Correct. The red line was submitted by the applicant.
Okay.
Yep.
So, 2 clarifications, but that doesn't sound like we need to make any modifications to the motion.
No.
So I have a motion on the table.
Second, baby.
I've got a second.
I'll second it. Let's move
I
it
have an
forward.
enthusiastic second. Any conversation on the motion? All right, Mr. Mendenhall, or Commissioner, I'll start on your end.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
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 All right, that's unanimous. So that is being forwarded with a positive recommendation to the city council. That's what, 2 weeks or next week?
Well, what we are looking at is that most likely it is going to need to be postponed because the second the second city council meeting is going to be canceled for budgeting.
Womp womp.
And we have a full agenda on the current ones.
Yeah, so most likely I think it's April 11th?
April 7th.
7th, April
Wow.
7th. So we got some time, but thankfully the applicants have been
Jeez Louise.
really, really flexible with us. So we really appreciate it from staff perspective.
Why behind, we were meant to do this a year ago.
Well, we're getting there,
Other stuff too, so.
getting there.
Well, best of luck. Thank you for all the help you're providing to the city.
Thank you.
Okay, moving forward to the Community Development Director's report.
The only thing I want to note is we have a new water efficient landscaping standards ordinance that Lisa has graciously worked on. It's been completely overhauled. It's written very legally sound-like. I reviewed it today, I'll say.
I went to town.
Okay.
So I forwarded the comments on to the water district. We'll hopefully hear back from John Perry maybe tomorrow or the next day, see if everything's sound there, but we'll schedule it for a public hearing if you're okay with that on Friday.
Yeah.
And then it'll come before the body at our next meeting 2 weeks from today.
That'd be great to get it in place for this coming year when all the water restrictions go into
Yes.
effect
Yeah.
after
It's a
the
high priority for.
banger snow year we've had.
High priority by some of the council members as well, and our residents want to take advantage of the opportunity while we're going into the spring, so.
Okay, good.
So we tried to address all the issues that the planning commission brought up in their thorough review of it, and a little bit of the addressing the non-conforming, when you have to comply with this.
And then the other thing I would note is the DADUs, detached ADUs, that the legislature likely is going to approve that. So we'll probably be bringing forward some kind of code with ideas or terms of restriction. I don't know. We'll have to talk internally what we want that to look like. But I think that is right now being looked at to go effective. I think it's May or June 1 is what's being looked at. And 10,000 square feet or larger would qualify for DADUs by state code if that gets approved, which feels like it's going.
Can we make a rule that if it's a Connex container, it's gotta be double stacked? Sorry.
Yeah, and with that, but, kind of to the comment, garages, detached garages and other structures can be modified into DADUs by this code as well. That's some of the terms of it. So.
Wow. that's
Well,
gonna
we
be
knew it was coming.
fun.
We knew it was
That's
coming.
super fun.
When they passed the ADU
Yep.
preemption,
The biggest question that's
We
come
knew it
up
was
now is, can you have an ADU and a DADU? And the league leadership said, I don't know, we'll have to look into that and get back with you, so.
yep, don't give people
And by
ideas.
fun, you mean interesting times?
Yes.
I think they'll pass it.
It'll be interesting if you can get
Internal ADU and
three
then
homes
DADU,
on a
yeah.
lot or not, we don't know how that works.
Do you think that will be the limit? Three?
Huh?
Like, do you think that'll be the limit? So there's a lady back east that has 13, yeah, tiny homes, and she's in compliance.
I don't
She's
know.
like making $13,000 a month. She has
Sure.
like one every,
There definitely is a push and pull. There was a variation of it that didn't have the 10,000 square foot in it, but that was the expectation from the league when this was discussed out of session. And now the sponsor has conceded and put, with the first substitute, put back in the 10,000 square foot.
I mean, 10,000, that's substantial.
Of a home or of
The lot has to
property?
be 10,000 square feet or larger to be able to do a DADU.
It's not that
Okay.
big.
So,
Oh, okay.
What's
Okay, not for
10,000
the
square
home, for
feet,
the
an eighth?
lot.
it's about a quarter acre.
Oh, it's a quarter?
Yeah, it's not very much.
Why was I thinking, that's why I was like, 10,000, that's huge. Like, oh.
Fascinating. Well, keep your ears to the ground. There were a record number of bills this year.
Yeah.
So
They,
it's
990.
overwhelming and exhausting to try to track everything.
Yeah, I think we saw like 990 was the number or something today.
0.25.
Thank you for that update. That's going to be fun. Let's look at the minutes from, now the 28 is correct.
Yes.
A broken clock is correct twice a day. The minutes from January 28th. Does anybody have any corrections, additions?
And correct me if I'm wrong here, I was reading through them and you have HB 248 as something that you brought up for us to like read last time. I looked that up, I think it might be HB 48. Am I wrong in that? Or does that even matter?
Oh, you're talking to me, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What were you saying again?
So you had told us to, like it says in here, on page 3 at the very top, impact land use, including potential amendments to HB 248 of 2025.
Oh, 48, yeah, that's
I
48.
think it's
Supposed to be
HB
48.
48. Am I wrong? And
But
does
it's
that even
248.
matter?
Yeah, on the WUI maps.
Is that something that I even need to
Should be
bring?
corrected to
the
48.
Yeah, we
attention?
can
Let's do
correct
that,
that.
because 248 is veteran protections.
Yeah,
From
it's
last
HB
year?
48.
Yeah, it's 48 then.
Nice catch, dude.
Yeah, and you were
Wow.
doing that.
I wanted
I
to do what
hereby
you told me
grant you
to, and I couldn't figure it
A
out.
gold star.
We do have an ordinance coming forward on
Ironic,
that,
yeah.
but we're not bringing
Ironically.
it forward to the planning commission because we're just going to adopt it as part of our construction codes.
Nice. Okay, any other corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor of the minutes as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, that's unanimous. I am open to a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. You're out.
All right.
Record.
Nice work,
Well, no,
guys.
last time it was 7:36.
Thank you.
We're actually